Hi everyone. So I'm back with another video on that is pivot table. So here are some tips for you to create a pivot table in a very few easy steps and some tips to keep in mind before making a pivot table. So let's get started. Okay. So here are the 5 tips to remember for pivot table. First one, insert your data in unique columns. So first of all, when it comes to data, so you need to insert whatever kind of data you are having. First thing is customer name, product name, customer ID, employee ID, any random data. So you need to create columns for these things. Which data can come into which column? Okay. So here we should have unique header name. First point is unique header name. So each and every column should have a unique header name. For example, customer name. So it should come under customer name column only. The data of any customer should come under customer name. Okay. For example, what product they have bought. So that should come under product name. Okay. And sales. For example, what is the cost price of that product, or how much sales we have done in that in this month, in the month of October. So everything can come into sales column. Region, from which region they belong to. So unique header name is that thing where you have to create date proper column headers so that your data is bifurcated and it is arranged in a very organized manner. Okay, first step to create a pivot table. Second point is no empty cells. Your no empty cells means that in the whole table, the table cannot have any empty cells, rows, columns, anything. Okay. So if there are any blank columns, blank rows, it will not make your table effective. So eliminate those empty columns, empty cells, and then create your pivot table. Here you can see in the image given below that there is a customer column, product column, salesperson. So customer is, for example, customer name is written, product name is written, soft drinks, salesperson is written, who has sold that product. So in this way you can create a table and you can make a pivot table. Use Excel table to make most of pivot table. Second important point, second tip is to use Excel tables. How many of you are using Excel tables? Like, if you have not used it, you should use it. The reason is it makes you avoid unnecessary errors in your pivot table. Okay, so first kind of error, what kind of error it can create? For example, if you are creating a pivot table, and what happens is, if you're creating a pivot table and then if you have inserted some rows, inserted some columns, deleted a row, okay, so what will happen? You need to, and you forgot to refresh, or you have to change the whole range. Okay, because if you have inserted the column at the bottom or row at the bottom of the table, what will happen? The pivot table needs to change the range of the table. Whereas if you're using Excel table, it will automatically add all those inserted tables, inserted rows, so into it. So here, how to create Excel table? Click anywhere on your data, whatever the data you have written or whatever the data you are having, click anywhere on your data, click on Insert tab, there is a table option, click on Table to create Excel table. The whole range of your data will be converted into table. Okay, include the headers also, column headers also. The third thing is, now what happens is, when you have inserted some data, updated some entries, and then you check out your pivot table, what happens is you just have to refresh it. You do not have to go into the data, do not have to create again a pivot table. You do not have to do all those tedious tasks. You just have to right click on it, refresh the pivot table to update the entries. So isn't it interesting? Excel tables will make your work simpler. So before making a pivot table, make your data as an Excel table and then use it as a pivot table. Now the next step is drill down to audit. Sounds difficult to understand. So here it is, drill down to audit is, it's nothing. It's very simple. You just have to double click on any of the cells of your pivot table and drill down. Like what to drill down? It's whatever the data you are having. For example, if I'm drilling down to the sales column, sales data, one of the cells in the sales data column, I double clicked on it. What will happen? It will generate a table. It will create a table which will tell me from where the data has been generated, which fields were used, which columns were used. So here it is to know how that value has been generated, which columns has been used to generate that values. That's the reason we are using drill down to audit. How to do it? Just double click on your cell and you are there. There's another sheet which is having a different table which is giving you the fields from which that cell value has been generated. So this is interesting. Okay. So just look at the table. Here just I have double clicked on euro and the year 2013, the value on the of that cell, and I got a new table from which fields that value has been generated. Okay. So now the second last tip is fourth tip, that is number format. Now when you're creating a pivot table, all the data is not organized properly. It's like the number data is just in a form of numbers, but for example, if you want to have formatted in the form of currency, if you want to format it in with the separators like 1000 separators, you can do it with the help of number format. So you can use number format to display your data in more specified format, which currency you are using, which number format you are using. Okay. So now in this image, you can see, you can just right click on it, right click on your cell and click on number format. You can use 1000 separator and accordingly you can format your numbers, format your cells. Now, what is the next step? What is the last one? Okay, fifth tip is summarize value by and show value as. Summarize value by is, you can summarize value by count, average, sum by right clicking on the field and values. What does that mean? Okay, so in your pivot table there are four things: rows, columns, values and filters. So in values you just have to right click on that value, or you will get a value field settings, select sum, count or average. You can summarize the values as count, sum, total count of it, total average of it, maximize, minimize, anything, any functions you can use. Show value as will give you various options like difference between previous and current month, what is the running total, what is the grand total, what is the percentage difference between the last 2 months, this month, year, many more important functions. Okay, so have you found it interesting? So this is just an overview and 5 tips for creating your pivot table. For further information, for further detailing of pivot tables, how to create it and how you can visualize it with the help of slicers, charts, just wait for another video. Stay tuned to this channel, subscribe, comment and share if you have liked it. Bye bye. Thank you.